Stay in the health sector. They do what many will not do, keeping dead bodies. But some of them are paid as low as 200 cedis a month for a job that a lot of people won't do even for a lot of money. Mortuary workers across the country are awake to this reality and have served notice they will withdraw services starting next week, Tuesday. The Association of Mortuary Workers in a statement lists multiple violations of their working conditions by the Ministry of Health. Maxwell Agbagba was at the Pantine Hospital mortuary to interact with some of the members of this association and has come through with this report.
I'm standing some meters away from the Pantine mortuary. Not much of activities happening here because it is Tuesday. Some of the morticians that I've been speaking to tell me that usually on Thursdays and Fridays it gets very busy here with a lot of family members, sympathizers coming here to collect bodies of their loved ones. But today, the morticians are just sitting here, just having interactions among themselves, and what has dominated the conversation here is their conditions of service. They have set notice that they'll be going on strike next week if government does not do anything about their conditions of service. I've been speaking to the General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, and he says that it's a collective resolve to demand what is theirs.
We have raised a lot of concerns as per the release you've seen. Some of them are the fact that there are some bad labor practices within the industry that is affecting especially mortuary workers. One of them, critical one of them, is the fact that people who are working under the laws of this country are being prevented from going on their leave, annual leave, which we think is a major concern. Another one is the fact that some of them are employed through the back door. They are calling them casuals. And once you are employed casual, they keep you there for about 6 months. And they tell you reapply for a job before you realize you are 18 years in that department or that environment. Many in the whole country, if you go around, you will see. One of them is the fact that we think that we do not have enough equipment in the mortuary to work with. Because the mortuary has its own set of tools. The trollers, the Wellington boots, the protective clothing, the mask. It's a whole set of things. But they are all lacking everywhere. And they are expecting us to just work. But we are making money, you know, for the hospitals and for government. So we think that some of them are working long hours, for instance, 24 hours. He works every day. He doesn't.
Why does that happen 24 hours?
Well, it's because some people are sitting somewhere and they are dictating how many hours you should work instead of going by the laid down laws of this country.
Is it for lack of personnel? What
well, I don't want to do. I think this question should be directed to those who are involved in it. Those who are involved in a certain action know why they are doing it, and they are doing it with impunity. That's our concern. I mean, the laws are clear. If those we have charged with governance decide to break the laws, what about the mortuary attendant? If he breaks the law, you fire him. For instance, he does not come to work without permission. You will fire him. But you are asking him to work 24 hours. You don't pay him any overtime. He comes to work on public holidays. You don't pay him overtime. He comes to work on weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and night. You don't give him time to rest. What type of labor practice is this? Only in Ghana, especially in the mortuaries. I don't see other workers in the same industry doing this, having this type of labor practice. It's only the mortuaries. Because others, we know we are in the same industry with them. We know others, some go to work 3 days, night, and they have off 3 days. They go rest with their family. So why would you want to stampede on the right of mortuary workers after having to go through all this hustle of keeping your loved ones safe for you to send to the final resting place? Why would you want to decide that this is the way I would treat these workers? Is it not greed? Is it wickedness? Or is it just deliberate attempt that we don't care about other people apart from ourselves? If we have leaders who are behaving lately, then we have a long way to go.
You talked about going on strike. When is the strike?
In fact, the strike is intended to take place on Tuesday, 20th of this month, which is November 20th, if government does not proactively solve the problems that we have presented before it.
So what solutions are you looking at? What interventions are you looking at
the
from government based on the petition?
Or what we expect to hear from the ministry tomorrow, which we have a meeting. Let me also remind you that they have sent us a letter signed by the chief director that he's been directed to invite us. Who directed, we are not too sure, but they say he's been directed to invite us to a meeting tomorrow or Wednesday. We think that letter concerning our grievances, the grievances have been put on paper for them. They know it's with them. They have custody of it over almost a year. So we know that what we expect tomorrow for short is that solutions. Anything short of solutions will not affect our strike.
So what solutions? You mentioned PPEs. You mentioned leave. You don't have leave. You work overtime. You work overtime, but you are not paid.
Exactly.
You are not paid for more than the hours normal hours that you're supposed to work.
Yes. Well, those are the basic problems that we are talking about.
And you talked about the tools that you work with also.
Exactly. You have gone to the mortuary yourself, right? Yeah. You've seen the tools. Are they support 21st century? Do we need those tools? The fridges, look at them, broken down all over. There are no trolleys. He has to squat and then bam, the waste is all paining him. The whole thing is in the mess. The whole mortuary is looking like a dumping, abandoned latrine or something. So you think that, look, there's no leadership. We should have leaders who should know that this place should be taken care of because some people, clients are paying for it. Ghanaians are paying for everything that goes on in the mortuary. Why would somebody want to sit on the monies and not maintain the place for the client to even enjoy the services they are paying for?
Okay, so if you don't get all the things that you are demanded, what's going to happen?
We might not get all the things.
Yeah.
But I think we want a commitment from government.
If you don't get a commitment, what's going to happen?
We continue the strike unabated.
If you say strike, what exactly do you mean? Are you going to shut the mortuary doors?
We are not coming to work at all. I mean, if it is, we are not coming. I mean, if doctors go on strike, they don't come. I mean, anybody that go to, it depends. Our strike is indefinite. In fact, we are laid down our tools. So, when 2019, when we come to work, let me give you a breakdown.
Exactly.
When we come to work on the 19th, once you go home, you don't come to work the following day until you are told to come. Simple. So whatever goes on in between, the minister and I think the ministry should find a way of. And if we see even somebody coming to take the body, trouble, because the law is clear on that. Remember, we have right 10 meters away from the facility to prevent anybody to go touch the bodies. So they must do what's right. We are not asking for extraordinary. Okay. You and I know that death is the direct opposite of life. It means that we are unique in the sense that we will handle you from the point of death to final disposition. Let me give you a very practical scenario. In a normal hospital setup where people who are working with the life against those who are working with death. When you are sick and you get to the hospital number 1, you meet a nurse. That nurse is a professional. He's being paid by Ministry of Health. He tells you to go and see a medical doctor. Doctor is being paid by the same ministry on one person. You go there, they say go and see the lab technician. The lab technician is also paid. From the lab, he goes to back the doctor. He said go to X-ray. The X-ray technician is paid. You go to pharmacy. Pharmacy is paid. These are all professionals being paid working on one body or one person. Before you are cured eventually, you might have gone through about 6-7 professionals. And all these people are on salary individually. Let's go to that of death. When you die and you die at the hospital, the mortuary attendant becomes the porter. He goes to bring the body from the ward to the mortuary. He's the same person who do the cleaning of the mess that is caused by the dead people in the mortuary. The same person is in charge of embalming the body, preserving the body through the infusion of chemicals to preserve the body from temporary decay. The same person is in charge of putting the bodies into fridges The same person is in charge of assisting autopsy. In fact, most of the autopsies, in fact, almost all autopsies in Ghana, the cutting or the dissecting and the bisecting is done by the mortuary attendants. The stitching back is done by the mortuary attendants. The medical or the pathologist's responsibility or duty is to express an opinion on the cause of death of that person. It's not the person who does the cutting, it's the same mortuary attendant who does all these things. When in case somebody dies with pregnancy somewhere where there's no pathologist, of course we don't have pathologists all over, it is a mortuary attendant who have to do surgical operation to remove the unborn babies in your stomach. Because you know Africa, we don't like burying people who are pregnant together. We want to separate them. So if you want to count the work that mortuary attendant does, for me, I see 1, 2, 3 professions put together to make him a whole, one. So his work, if it is really quantified like the way people who are advanced, who are thinking, you know, about developing this country, then his salary or his remuneration should not be compared to any other person who is working with life. It's a different environment. I told you the people are dead already. The signal those who are charged with governance is sending to all Ghanaians, and for that matter, those who die during that period, is that they should learn to bury anybody who dies within a day, or those who intend to die during that period should wait. When mortuary workers are back to work, they die. Simple. It's not me. It is those that we have put there and we are paid there with our taxpayers' money, who are supposed to take decisions in the interest of this country, who have stampeded on the right of ordinary Ghanaian workers because they don't have a mouth. They should be held responsible.
The Mortuary Workers Association is set to meet the Ministry of Health. Today we'll bring you updates on that meeting. And you're watching News Desk with me, Benis Abubedu-Lansa. Business News is next.